Hey everybody, John Boutte, Buffalo Sports Museum. We're here with another episode of In the Vault. It is late March, March 29th, 2023. The Bisons are only a few days away from opening day. Major League Baseball is only a few days away from opening day. So I thought I would talk a little bit about some of the baseball things that we have in our collection, most notably scorecards, or programs as they were later known as. And these ones that we're about to show you right now are the oldest items in our collection in terms of Buffalo. These right here are scorecards from the 1879 season. That's right, 1879. We have about 9 or 10 of them in our collection, and these are scorecards that were used at the ballpark. And you might notice on these scorecards, it says Riverside Baseball Grounds. And that's where the Bisons played in 1879 to 1885. And it's not the Riverside grounds that you would know of today, Riverside Park. But this was further down towards downtown. And this was where the Bisons played. It is no longer a park anymore. But I thought I would bring out some of these old scorecards and talk about it a little bit and work our way up through different examples of pre-war 1945 programs in Bison's history. So we're going to go through a couple of them. And some of them are all of them are really beautiful. And I like to think that these are some of the rarest things in our collection because these just do not last very long. They're made of paper, obviously, and quite simply, people did not save these. And I don't know why you would. And like I said, 1879 to 1885, the Bisons played in the National League, which was Major League Baseball. And the team they had was not a bad team. It was actually pretty good. Some of the players on the team, we'll go over some of the players on the team from that period, went on to be inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And a couple are in our Hall of Fame, the Greater Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame. This scorecard right here, this is how the fronts of the programs looked. Great artwork. Some funny looking pictures. But they captured different poses of players of the day, whether they were playing base, whether they were catching, hitting, fielding. And on the flip side was the scorecard for the game. This game right here pitted the Bisons against the Boston Beaneaters. Not the Red Sox, not the Braves, the Beaneaters, which also played in the National League. But this item here came to me many years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And like I said, it's one of the rarer items in our collection. And you really got to be careful with it because you can see that it is starting to fray. So we have to keep that in plastic to keep it dust-free and in good condition because these just do not show up very often. This one here, like I said, dated from 1885. It was the Bisons' last year in the National League. The team was not a good team in this last year in 1885, even though, if you look at the lineup, the first 4 players on this score sheet were known as the Big Four. Hardy Richardson, Danny Bruthers, Jack Rowe, Deacon White. One of the most formidable offensive lineups in baseball history. Played right here in Buffalo. And at the bottom, you see a man named Galvin is the pitcher. James Pud Galvin, who played for the Bisons in that period. Pud Galvin, Danny Bruthers, Deacon White are all enshrined in the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. So it really was a formidable lineup, and it's amazing that they didn't win more games at that point. After the season, ironically, the entire team was sold to the Detroit Wolverines. So all the players became the property of the Detroit Wolverines, who went on to win many games. I think they won some titles, actually, as well. But I believe, I'm not quite sure, but I think they were the precursor to the Tigers. But like I said, the team was sold off in 1885. They had some financial problems and moved out of Buffalo, were sold off. But this, I mean, take a look at this program. It is wonderful. It's the advertisements are so cool. Chase and Comstock leading hatters. You know, every man had to wear a hat back in that day. It's the way it was. So hatters were extremely popular. Michigan Central, I would take it, railroad, the Niagara Falls route to Detroit, Toledo, Chicago, and all points west. Dining car route, General Office, Buffalo 57 Exchange Street. After the game, go to the Swan Street Cafe, the popular resort, and all the delicacies, finest brands of wines, liquors, and cigars. Furniture, and the Court Street Theater. So this is really a great document to have. Think about this. This is, going on, what is that, 100 and almost 150 years old. And it's kind of cool. But here's some other examples of programs. These come from just a little bit later, the early 1900s, when a man named George Stallings was the manager. George Stallings, not famous so much for managing in Buffalo, but George Stallings would go on to be the manager of the Boston Braves. In 1914, the Boston Braves became the only team, still to this day, to finish last in the previous season and win the World Series the next season, which is fascinating. And in that season of 1914, Stallings made a deal to bring his Boston Braves to Buffalo to play an exhibition game in July. The team was 26-40 when it came to Buffalo to play an exhibition game, and got trounced by the Bisons, minor league team at the time, trounced the Braves 10-2. From that point on, after that game, the Braves went on a tear and won the National League by 10.5 games. 10.5 games they won the National League, and they went on to sweep the World Series against the Philadelphia A's. Connie Mack's Philadelphia A's, 4-0. So imagine that turnaround. Last the year before, 26-40, dead last in July of that season, to come back and storm back and not only win the pennant, but win the World Series. Amazing accomplishment. And that's George Stallings, who was manager here from 1902 to 1906, and again from 1911 to 1912, before he left to take the reins for the Boston Braves. Now you know. But I'll just go quickly through some of these other programs. I know it's getting long, but I wanted you to see just some of the programs in our collection. I'll go through these pretty quick. But like I said, these are all pre-war programs, which obviously date before 1945. This one, 1913. Look at that great artwork. Absolutely just beautiful artwork. And again, the advertisements are just beautiful in these things. This one dates from 1925. This was only the second year the Bisons played at then Bison Stadium, which in 1935 would be renamed Offerman Stadium. But I mean, just cool programs. The artwork, like I said, is just really beautiful. 1927. Just look at that. It's a work of art. It really is. Beautiful programs. 1929. The Hotel Lincoln. And the newspaper at the time was called the Buffalo Times. Here's a neat one. 1933. Souvenir scorecard to playoffs. 1933, the Bisons. Johnny Jeem for county treasurer, who went on to be the general manager of the Bisons. 10-cent program. 1934. The Marion stores, original double dip cones, 5 cents. Stores all over Buffalo. Camels are just right. Another playoff program. 1935. Great team. And again, 35 was the year Frank Offerman, president of the Bisons, would pass away, and the stadium would be renamed in his honor. 1936, Governor's Cup Series, the Baltimore Orioles and the Buffalo Bisons at Offerman Stadium. Here's a similar one. This is from the Junior World Series, which was the minor league World Series of the time, the Milwaukee Brewers and the Buffalo Bisons. Interesting that the Brewers would get a major league franchise, as would the Orioles from the year before. $1938. $1940. Look at that great program. Still only 5 cents. This is a yearbook. These yearbooks were put out in 1941, and similar to a media guide of the 70s and 80s and 90s, this was a really, really nice program with great photography inside, biographies of the players, team photos, and things like that. It's a really nice yearbook from 1941. And then World War II would start. 1942, Weber's mustard, still sold today. And these are kind of neat from 42 and 43 and 44, 45. You would see these advertisements to buy United States war bonds at the time. So this one again is from 1942. Victory Bound. Hangers. Very famous department store in Buffalo. Many years. Very nice programs. This was during World War II. 10 cents. They raised the program price up in that era to 10 cents. On to Victory, 1944. Really nice. And here's a yearbook from 45. And this takes us to the end of World War II. Offerman Stadium, there it is. But anyway, I thought you would like a look at some of the pre-war programs that we have in our collection. And we love doing it. We love collecting them. Anytime we find these old ones that pop up, we grab them because we just think these need to be saved. Anyway, we hope you liked the segment. At a future segment, we're going to take a look at the program styles from the post-war Bisons. But for now, take care. John Boutte, Buffalo Sports Museum. Thanks for watching.